What's up everybody, Supersmallchibiwolf here, and today I'm going to be talking about the disappointing state of corn gaming. But in this video I'm going to be talking about more of the corn gen, more of like the modern gaming and all that, my issues relating to that, my issues relating to the game companies themselves and overall stuff like that. I'm going to kind of maybe talk about a little bit of the retro games, but I'm going to save the retro game and related stuff for a future video because I think I'm gonna give it some time, maybe next month or the month after, discuss about that. Most likely next month. But with today being today, let's do this. Now, the first thing I would like to talk about is how games tend to release buggy, glitchy, and the online multiplayer tends to have issues. And many gamers and companies have accepted this to be the normal thing in gaming, and I hate this because why try to support and make excuse for a greedy company who cares more about making a profit over the quality of their product? And many companies do this, even outside of games. But when it comes to games, they sometimes give updates and stuff later on, but most of the time it's too late. And at that point, new games come out, new polished games come out, and a lot of those people who try to invest in it get bored and move on, and then you're left with a game that's no one's playing it online anymore because a new superior game has come out in the market, and it's annoying, you know what I mean? And especially when a lot of retail store workers, they tend to defend it. Like one time, for example, I went into a store, bought a game, went back the next day, was like, I don't like this. They said, why? Well, number one, there's a lot of hackles. Number two, there's a lot of glitches. That's gotta make it long story short. It's a game that is not what the money that they're asking for, and they try to defend it and say, I'm sorry, it's just how games are nowadays. It's not a lot we could do, and I feel like that's just an anti-consumer thing to say, first of all. And just like, why support a product? Basically, this is the equivalent of saying, and I remember I said, used an example, and they were nice about it, no issues. Was he calls me later on when I went to that store, saw him, but pretty nice guy, I would say. But I would say, to say that is basically the equivalent of saying, oh, you're looking for a car, let me sell you this car. Okay, you don't enjoy that car, there's some issues with the transition or something like that. Oh, well, sorry, this and that, like making excuses just support something that there's clearly an issue for. And I do not like that, that's one of the things that I was kind of like about. Now, the next thing I would like to discuss is game subscriptions. Unfortunately, you know, game subscriptions are a part of current game, and I personally feel like if you buy a product, you should have free online. But these days, unfortunately, those days of having free online to play are gone. I personally feel like, I hope that one of these companies go back to free to play. But moving on from that, I also hate like for example, the things we get. You pay a 1 year subscription, and then or a few months. With I personally pay a year to play online because I play a lot. But so I'm gonna use me for example. I pay 1 year subscription for PlayStation and Nintendo, and I personally feel like what do we get? We get, let's start off with Nintendo. You know, like they have two subscriptions. They have, and Sony does this as well. You have one subscription where you play online, right? And then you have the other one which has the N64 Sega games, and if you are on Sony, you have the PlayStation Now. Now I used PlayStation Now a few years ago. I wasn't that big of a fan of it, and it wasn't my thing. But now they're adding PSP games, PS1 games. I'm happy. Why didn't they do that at the start of this fucking PlayStation Now stuff? I don't know what Sony was on or thinking about. You know what I mean? Like I remember what about videos? That's what someone commented. What are you on? But yeah, uh, funny stuff. And yeah, man, like it took this long for Sony to add PS1 and PSP games. So crazy stuff. And then next with Nintendo, they have two subscriptions. Do you want NES, SNES, and to play online, or do you want the N64 Sega? It like just combine the two and just $10 more online service and fix you online service, make it a little better. You know, I like well for me personally, I have not had any issues playing online, but I hear a lot of people had. But yeah, connection's been good. Now, next thing I would like to discuss is relating to the game subscription is besides the online play and besides the stuff that we get, the free games online, they tend to have like old games, on the services, and I don't like that shit. Like, why not just give us like betas and demos? Like, work with these, third-party game companies and release, I mean, give us like access to like betas, demos of upcoming games. Yeah, they do that, but usually it's like one, two, maybe three games of. Most of it is like shovelware stuff and shit. Not a lot of people do. Like, if I was like one of these companies, I would be like this. Here you go. Maybe you have 3 genres a month for free games. For example, you're a JRPG guy. Here you go. You a girl that likes playing racing games. Here you go. You like adventure games. There you go. Maybe you have a game for one of the genres, because to ask for all the genres would be too much. Maybe I just have for the most popular genres out there. I think that would be pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I think these companies would, like Sony, Nintendo, etc. They have a lot of money. They can make a lot of money. You know, by I think that would be a pretty nice thing. Letting people test out a game before you buy the product. You know, that's the one reason I like a lot of retro stores. They have like kiosks and they allow you to test it out. Or, they test it out. And it's pretty nice. And sometimes they play with you. I like that too. So game subscriptions overall, I think needs to improve. You know, I kind of feel, overall, I think game subscriptions, I would say, playing online should be free, and the game subscription should be a different thing. If they want to pay to play all these things and get all these benefits, let them choose. And, to play online, everybody buying a console, for example, and just something that I felt like bringing up. Next thing I would like to discuss is, um, I believe wonderful things take time, and within that time, the creators should have some time to think things through, improve their work, kind of perfect certain things, provide provide a wonderful experience overall. Give us an amazing game. But unfortunately, many companies release games unfinished, glitchy at times. It doesn't, have all the modes and features that were promised and that were in the trailer. You know, they don't have all that stuff at launch, and they promise like, oh, we'll have this later on, and this and that. And I do not like this. I hate when companies do this. You know, if you're going to release a game, release it with everything, every mode, release it with every feature that was in the trailer, everything. Release it non-glitchy, non-buggy. You know, like like I said, you have a lot of talented people. You have a lot of money. You know, so just give us the customer a better product. Because a lot of us, we work hard for our money and we want a better product. Something good. That's just one thing I was also feel like it has been lacking, the quality, because back then when you released the game on PS1 and 64 Super Nintendo, etc., that was it. You know what I mean? Yeah, they had like a re-release or like a updated what was it? Updated game, for example, um, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda. I think they had like the gray cartridge and then they had like a gold cartridge or something like that. That's one of the games that I know about that did that back then. And yeah, you know, I think many companies should just take their time, delay a game, and give us a perfect product. I'd rather have to wait another year for an upcoming game to be released than having to deal with, hey, there's an update to fix this issue, there's an update later on to fix this one, and it's just annoying. You know what I mean? It's so just no, I do not like it. Give us a good product, delay the game if you have to, and give us a better, wonderful experience overall. That's what I want. Next is DLC. We know a lot of games have DLC. I think I don't hate DLC 100% because look, you know, nowadays, many games coming out and this and that. It's good to know that like the companies are trying to keep this game alive. You know what I mean? For example, um, look at how, for example, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Street Fighter 5 handled it. Years after they can't come out with DLC, I like the Street Fighter method more. I talked about it before. You play the game, get in-game currency, buy the DLC with in-game currency by just doing challenges and playing online. You know what I mean? Amazing. Everyone should be doing that. Hopefully Capcom does it with Street Fighter 6. I talked about it Street Fighter 6 video I did. And yeah, it's just cool overall. Next thing I would like to discuss is that, DLC. A lot of companies, they have the DLC the same price as, the same, sometimes even more than the actual game base model of the game. And it's like, oh, I paid 60 plus tax on this, and now I need to pay 50 for your DLC that you're going to be playing this game for until the next the game or whatever. And it's like, what? I like, don't get me wrong, and most of the time that DLC isn't even worth it. I think, give us DLC, but give us stuff. I rather have, the 6 things of DLC, but those 6 things are meaningful and worth something than a DLC spanned throughout an entire year with many content that is mediocre at best. You know what I mean? So I rather have DLC that people actually put time and effort to make, and than DLC that's just boring and just people's going to forget about it once the next game drops or the next big hyped up game is released. You know, I think some games could benefit from DLC. For example, Mario Party Superstars. That game definitely needs DLC. Characters, boards, mini games, etc. So yeah, and you know, there's other games I could think of that needs DLC, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, one thing that I don't like is wasted potential. Many gaming companies have wasted potential. For example, how many companies have these wonderful classic franchises that has not been used in years? We love, classics in their respective genres. I'll use Capcom for example because besides, let's be honest, I could say many. F-Zero for Nintendo, which they definitely should make a new F-Zero game on Nintendo Switch. Look at, come on, but Capcom, you know, they have, for example, Darkstar. Right, that's a huge. They love fighting game franchise within the fighting game, community. And then Square Enix, they kind of have messing stuff up as well. Like for example, oh also another Capcom thing I would say is like Mega Man, you know. But for Square Enix, I would say they had an awful thing. For example, I love Final Fantasy, the City of NT for PlayStation 4. They shut that service down like 2 years after its launch, and I hated it. I fucking was playing that game every day, every other day, and we could play online. I met many friends. The Sony PlayStation 4 used to have communities back then, and I don't know why they fucking stopped it. Probably maybe some inappropriate flooded communities, but I've seen those, and those were fucking weird. Usually get reported and done for. But yeah, those communities of like Final Fantasy City and T, you find people, you talk, you have fun. We used to plan like days, hey, let's play this day and this and that. It's fun stuff. Yet Sony cut off the communities and Square Enix cut off the Final Fantasy the City and T, and I hate that. That game, to be honest, one of my favorite fight games of all time. I still have the disc and all that. It's still, I think it's still playable. After it shut down the online multiplayer, I stopped playing. I probably should try it out again. Maybe single player is still working. But yeah, that's an example of companies just doing bad things. And a lot of companies don't listen. They do, but they don't listen to, or maybe when they do listen, they don't listen to like the most important things. For example, like there was a lot of people in the city being T. I found it's maybe some days of the week it was hard to find a game, but most of the time you just go to the community and you just say, yo, let's play. anyone that want to play and you want to chill and stuff with CMT. And then everyone, I get replies, messages, and then everyone's replying to the community post that I did. And then we play Final Fantasy CMT, you see? And then it's just awful when, they just shut it down. Why don't they listen to the fans and say, let us say, yo, a lot of people still play it. Look at Sony PlayStation 4 and community made up of this game. And then maybe they could have still kept it up. But no, they shut it down. And plus, they had Teep Lockout as, I believe, the final DLC in that game. But yeah, I was like, games don't get shut down anyway, so what's the point of even buying a new DLC? So yeah, I usually main Cloud and Lightning. So yeah, and Zidane. Also, all three of those, Cloud, Lightning, Zidane. Yeah, fun times. Yeah, that game was wonderful. Yeah, many good times. But next thing I would like to talk about is the last thing. You know, I want to talk about is remakes and remasters. Now this could be amazing because it saves us so much money, especially these days. With retro games, priced in crazy price. Like Darkstalkers 3 on PlayStation 1 going for like close to 200 plus. Crazy stuff. So that's an example of, and if you didn't, what was it? If you really want a perfect copy of that game, I'm not even joking. That's around the same price of what you would be paying for Darkstalkers 3 for PS1. But exactly original was printed better. Um, the last thing I would like to talk about is that is the remakes and remasters. Now I enjoyed this. I enjoyed them. Gaming company say, you know what? We see these prices going up. Let me remaster this thing. Let me remake this thing from the ground up, or this and that. And then they provide us a way to play these games. Maybe have collector's edition to let us play these games. For example, I'm looking forward to the Capcom, collection that's coming out later this year. And I love the Street Fighter 30 anniversary. That's really cool as well. And yeah, Chrono is coming out for PS4. PS5. And I believe it's PS5. It's PS4. Either way, I'll still get it and play it on my PS5. And Nintendo Switch is coming out for. And I'm happy. I love these collections. Me, and a lot of times with these big companies, you can play it online. For example, Street Fighter 30th anniversary, you can play games like Street Fighter Alpha 3 online with other people. It's really cool, it's really fun, and I love it. So overall, I support these remakes and remasters coming out. I hope more companies do it. It's going to be fantastic. Nintendo, please give us the Metroid Prime trilogy. I think that would be pretty cool and wonderful. And hopefully, Metroid Prime 4, I believe, Metroid Prime 4. It's been so long since I saw the teaser trailer, so I forgot a little. I hope that game comes out this year. Last year, wonderful. It was just so fun. I was playing some of the Metroid games. It was really cool. One of my favorite games of all time on Nintendo Switch. And then if they come out with a Metroid game this year, so like I was saying, if they come out with the Metroid game this year, I'm going to be really happy. So with that being said, yeah, that's pretty much it. Tell me in the comments what you think about all of this. The current state of gaming. You think it's amazing? You think you're a little disappointed? You think there are more issues that needs to be discussed? I think there's other issues that needs to be discussed, but for now, I think these are the most things that's bothering me. You know what I mean? Especially the retro game prices. Like for example, another game I'm looking forward to. Just to let everyone know, Pocky and Rocky Shrine, because the Pocky and Rocky games on Super Nintendo, that's just heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. Really bad. Just see it that. Some places are delusional. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, bye.